Happy day after Christmas, Mark. Okay, I'm going over your stuff. First of all, this was not a one-way test. This was an independent test, t-test. You can also call it a two-sample t-test. But a one-way t-test means you only got one sample, and you're comparing it against a stated mean or a stated norm or something like that. Okay, so it's an independent t-test, and you address the assumptions. Very good. Normally the histograms, I don't like the histograms because again that doesn't look very normal to me. I would prefer you guys use the Kolmogorov-Smirnov test, which I go over in a video. I'm going to send you the link to that as well. And you made one tiny error when you quoted your T up here of 3.1. That was this. That was the F score. This box right here is checking for the homogeneity variance in a T test. So don't use that one, use this one. Okay, so your T should have been 2.33 and your p-value should have been less than 0.05. Okay, so those two are not quite correct there. But that's a minor error. I do that myself all the time. But just remember, if you're running an independent t-test, use the t-test statistic. That's what you're going to quote. And again, this F thing up here in the beginning is simply testing to see if the variance between the two groups is close enough to be called homogeneous, whatever that word is. Okay. So that one looks really, really good. You did the eta squared, everything. That part looks really good. Okay, let's move on to the second question. All right, so you do a good job of addressing the assumptions again, test of normality, and you use the box plot and the dreaded histogram. But again, use the Kolmogorov-Smirnov output. That's a much more accurate way to look at normality. And a Levine's test is perfect, right? It did not violate the assumption of homogeneity variance. And the independence thing we just have to take for granted because we weren't there, making sure nobody was cheating. But let's see what you did here. Okay, so you had a corrected model. It means your omnibus F was 28 and significant is less than 0.01. That's good. And okay, so it looks like there was a significant difference between the district in test scores, math test scores, but not in delivery and in length. And there was a significant difference between district and delivery. Perfect, perfect, perfect. This one looks absolutely perfecto. So that one looks good. Let me make sure your write-up is good here. Hold on. All right, there was a significant difference in the state math scores, blah, 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 blah. I'm thinking there should be like the word overall. There was an overall significant difference in the state math scores, blah, 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 blah. And then when you name your F, you would call it your omnibus F with an omnibus F of F parentheses 13 comma 7 blah 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 blah. That tells the whoever's reading your report that yeah, your first F was a significant F, therefore you would proceed. So let me see what else you got here. All right, you state there's a main effect of school district, which is perfect, right? You did that absolutely perfect. P is less than. There was also a significant difference between course length. This P right here, you should have put P is less than 0.01 or whatever it is. Whenever, and this is APA formatting, this ain't me. But I've seen it in other books where they just simply write out whatever the P value equals. But again, because we're a psychology school, they insist on APA formatting. So next time you would have put P is less than 0.01, but again, no biggie. And what else you got there? And there was no main effect for delivery. That's perfect. So now some people, when you say there's no main effect, they want to see that F stuff as well. But I don't care. If it's not significant, I really don't care. But you could have put that in there. And in the write-up that I did, I put it in there. But that's not a biggie. And there was a significant interaction between these guys. Blah, 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 blah. Again, this P, make it like P is less than 0.05 or something. Again, if it's significant, it should be less than either 0.05, 0.01, or 0.001. And you got a great big eta squared, which is fine. And I noticed your little note down here at the bottom. There was a very interesting correlation between the math scores and the Frito-Lay sales because you got it right on the head. I was hoisted by my own petard. But yes, all I did was take the data from the Frito-Lay thing, and I multiplied the DV by 24. And I just changed the names of the IVs. So you get a lot of extra credit for recognizing that. So don't tell anybody that I basically just change the names of the variables and multiply the TVs, because it's a lot of work to come and try to find this data that actually interacts all the time. So that was really, really good. I'm very impressed. Let's go to the next question. All right, you address the assumptions. Good. Normality, independence, homogeneity of variance were not violated, right? They were met. And you got a little boo-boo here. Sphericity is not required in a repeated measure study. It is. If it's solely a repeated measure study, then sphericity is, in fact, an assumption. But this is a mixed ANOVA. This is a between group and within group. That's when sphericity is not required. Okay, so sphericity is required by a repeated measure study by itself, but not when you have between group variables in it. Okay, so that part, you need to fix that part. And everything else looks really, really good. Right? There was an overall dropping of stress scores between stress 1, stress 2, and stress 3. And there was interaction all over the place. But when you're going to see it in the video that I ran, but when I split it up and did it by individual, first I did it by program. I did the business, and their stress scores went down significantly. Psychologists, same thing. Their stress scores went down significantly, as did tutoring or non-tutoring, and it didn't make a difference whatsoever. It didn't matter which program they're in. It didn't matter if they were getting tutoring or not. So I just came to the conclusion that, in 16 weeks, the stress factor does go down naturally by itself, simply because of the 16 weeks. But it looks really, really good. So I'm very happy with your study and your progress. I'm going to give you an A for this class. Congratulations. So have a safe holiday. Have a good new year. No drinking and driving. And I look forward to working with you in the near future. So again, congratulations. Good work. I miss you already. Math Guy Zero out.